I have to get into scripture because I'm a spiritual man, but to those of you looking, it's talking about the resurrection. The resurrection is not necessarily talking about people in a cemetery, but the black man is on a dead level. If you look, this is Grenada. Who creates the economics of the country? In Jamaica, in Trinidad, in Barbados, it's not us. We are the majority of the people, but the big money is in the hands of Indians, in the hands of Chinese, in the hands of whites, in the hands of Arabs. And some of us are intelligent and we go into business, but the majority, the big money, all the islands, is not us creating the means of food, clothing, shelter for our people. Somebody else is doing that. And that goes right back to the weakness in the educational system of our former colonial masters. A man that is your former colonial and slave master is not going to educate you to be his equal. So we don't have equal access to equal education. We have an inferior education, so our activity bears witness to the inferiority of our education. I was in Trinidad. I was in Antigua. I was in Cuba. Wherever I went in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, we were not the real backbone of the economy. In Trinidad, Indians came. They were a minority. The blacks, the majority in Trinidad. Now, they're unity. They're business savvy. They're producing in Trinidad. They're producing in Guyana. And now, their babies on the increase, our babies through birth control, through abortion, through death-dealing drugs and whatnot, in the black. So the Indians now are more in number in Trinidad and in Guyana, so they become the political power now. So what is happening to us? Somebody has to come and resurrect us from a dead spiritual condition.
So you think it's our weakness spiritual that is perhaps hampering that progress that others have made?
It's a spiritual, intellectual, political, and economic weakness. We are the political power, but not the economic power wherever we are. We rejoiced over Nelson Mandela coming out of prison and becoming president of South Africa. But when we visited South Africa, when we got off our plane, there was a man dressed in chains. And I looked at him, he never said a word. When we went to our 5-star hotel in Johannesburg, there he was when we were going in the hotel, dressed in chains. And what was he telling us? We're free, but yet we're chained. So now in South Africa, the miners that are mining platinum, the miners that are mining gold, the miners that are mining diamonds, these are black miners, but the owners of the mines are white. The economy of the country is not ours. So how can you be free if you've got political freedom that is not backed by economic substance? So your politics is symbol without substance. And what resurrection mentally will give us is the substance that goes along with the symbol.
You've been articulating those powerful messages. You are one of those in the vanguard on American television, which is extremely powerful, infiltrates the world actually. And the point I'm trying to get to, unfortunately, we not seems to be getting the numbers to begin to believe in what you're saying, or more important, to practice what you're saying.
Yes. My dear brother, our ignorance is beneficial to somebody.
Okay.
The Bible said, my people are destroyed, not because they're black. They're destroyed for the lack of knowledge. So to keep our people ignorant is to keep us subjected to forces that with knowledge we could easily overcome. So the moment a person of knowledge comes on the scene to change that dead mental reality, the forces that benefit from our ignorance fight that person. It's right there in the scriptures. Jesus came with a message to lift the people, but Jesus frightened the Roman authorities. He even frightened the religious Jews of that day, and they saw him as an enemy to them. So the poor heard his message gladly, but the rich schemed against him and worked in the people against Jesus. So the scripture says he was hated without a cause. Why would you hate a man like that? I mean, think about Jesus walking among the people, healing the blind, making the deaf hear, making the dumb speak, and he never asked them, come on, that's going to cost you so much and so much. But here, you get sick, if you don't have insurance, you don't have any money, die. What kind of humanity is that? So we really need, and it will happen, the powers that kept us, that fight against the rise of our people, are gradually losing their power to control. And so as their power is waning, then the truth that we've been seeing for years finds a home. In the Bible, the children of Israel were so enamored by the wealth of Pharaoh. They didn't want to hear Moses. What are you talking, man? You take us in a land flowing with milk and honey. I see milk, I see honey, but I ain't got enough, but I get a little. So God had to strike at the wealth of Pharaoh. And when Pharaoh's wealth started to diminish, then the children of Israel said, I think we better do something to help ourselves.
That's a nice way to put it. I never thought about it in that light. No, I think, let me ask you this, because I've heard you in the past articulate on Obama's presidency. Symbolically, it shows that much of what you have seen, black America now has a black president.
Yes.
But it's a majority of white America who would have put him there. So are we seeing that diminishing distrust of perhaps our ignorance?
No. In fact, it's worse now. Because Obama is a black man, one thing that he did for all of us, he made us to see that we can be more than a football player, basketball player, tennis player, hockey player, a golf player. We can be more than a singer, a dancer, an entertainer for the powers that be. He made us to see we can rule. And because of his intelligence, they didn't care what he said while he was campaigning. And if you look at the sea of humanity that loved him, because he represented to the whole world not just the change that he was talking about, but the change that humanity is really desirous of. He represented it. And if you look at the re-election, look at Mr. Romney. When you look behind Mr. Romney, you see a sea of white. And when you see Obama, you see America. All of the ethnicities and racial and religious components of America are in the scene behind Obama. So the Republicans lost, but they are so angry because white racism has not died, because there's a black man in the White House.
Has it gotten worse?
It's gotten worse. And even now, the hatred that is being spewed in America about Obama, the mockery of him, the newspapers, the magazines. There was a Jewish magazine, a publisher in Atlanta. I think his name is Ed Edelson. He advocated that the CIA, under Mossad's guidance, literally kill the president. This is real. So now he's won. But he's won, and 32 states wanted to secede from America because he won. So if you look at the map of Abraham Lincoln and the states, the southern states that seceded, and you look at the map of those southern states, every one, with the exception of, I think it was Virginia,
right,
voted for Romney.
Right.
So what is it telling us? That the hatred of our rise, that's the point. You Negroes are getting uppity. That's the language they use. These are uppity Negroes. How dare you think that you could rule? How dare? Look at us on television. Look at how intelligent we are representing ourselves. That's a class. But the mass, see, that's the bling bling. That's the man that is being socially engineered to gangs and drugs and guns. So on one hand, we have black men rising, and on the other hand, we have black men destroying each other. And that is not just an American reality. That is also a reality now in the Caribbean.
So that's not an accident?
No.
It's not an accident?
It's by design.
It's by design.
Yes. The Bible, oh man, that book is so full of wisdom. You know, Pharaoh saw the multiplication of the children of Israel. And when he looked at that, he said, come, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, join on to an enemy of ours, and come against us. So that invitation was to a conspiracy, and the conspiracy was kill the male, spare the female. Now go and look in all the colleges and universities. You see a preponderance of the black female and the decimation of the black male. I just left the colleges. I'm lecturing in colleges in the United States. The last college I was at, there was 63% female, 36% male. And this is a pattern throughout America. Well, our young girls are becoming lawyers, they're becoming engineers, they're becoming doctors. The men are becoming crack dealers, pimps, hustlers. And you see them, man, I'm a rapper, man. I ain't got no time for this kind of talk, man. Let me rap something. So they rap, and the people, when rap first came, it was intellectual. People were giving a message. Not today. They turned it into gangster rap. And then once you make a hit record calling our women out of their names, glorifying gangs and drugs, then they give you money, because now your record is a hit. They made it a hit. So now the moment you get the money, you got to show your friends how well you're doing. Then you go get diamonds. Who's selling? You go get gold. Who's selling? You not. So